Koga Daisuke is getting ready for a mission. He lives in a tall apartment building. In his room, there's a picture of a group of people wearing helmets and holding guns. On a nearby table, there's a gun, some goggles, and bottles of supplies. Standing at the door, he takes a deep breath and steps outside, prepared to begin his mission. Koga Daisuke is 40 years old. He walks down a dirt path with a bag slung over his shoulder under a bright blue sky. As he walks, there's a signpost nearby, but he doesn't pay much attention. He wears a shirt and tie, looking like an average office worker, and continues his journey. Koga thinks of himself as just a regular office worker who enjoys survival games. He walks confidently, feeling good about the path ahead. He looks at the ground, but can't make out any details. He says to himself that it's no use, as he can't read a single word. He stops in front of a sign he can't understand, but the warning reads, "Be careful of magi beasts." As he keeps walking, Koga notices that this place is filled with strange animals and plants he has never seen before. Every time he visits, it surprises him. He also thinks about how strange it is that he can reach this totally different world through his closet. As he walks, he feels the air gun at his side and finds it strange. Suddenly, he hears a thumping sound and wonders what it could be. Out of nowhere, a group of goblins charges forward, running in a pack. Koga is shocked. He knows goblins aren't very smart, but when they're together in groups, they're dangerous. One goblin swings a weapon at Koga, barely missing him. Koga is confused and surprised by the weird creatures. He quickly dodges and realizes how close the attack was. As the goblins keep attacking, one of them grabs onto Koga's bag and starts biting it. Koga struggles to stop the goblin from tearing his things apart. Suddenly, a young girl appears, holding a sword firmly in front of her. She steps forward, ready to protect Koga. The goblins keep coming, and she tells Koga to get behind her. Koga is surprised to see the girl with the sword and hesitates for a second. She urges him to move quickly, so Koga steps back as she faces the goblins. The girl steps forward and tells the goblins to stop attacking Koga, saying she will fight them instead. The goblins charge, but she swings her sword with great strength, cutting through them. One goblin is knocked back by the force, but she keeps fighting, determined to protect Koga. The girl skillfully defeats a group of goblins. Koga watches from a distance, impressed by her strength and how cool she looks as she fights. After the fight, Koga thanks the young girl for saving him. He's clearly grateful. The girl, who introduces herself as Lena, smiles kindly. She explains that she's a traveling knight who protects people from goblins. Koga introduces himself as Koga Daisuke, and Lena finds his name a little strange but smiles. Lena tells Koga she's stationed near a village, where her job is to protect people from the goblins that become violent in packs. Koga listens and is impressed by her mission. They continue talking, and Koga mentions how important communication is in his work. Lena notices Koga's gun and thinks it's a weird-looking talisman, but Koga brushes it off. He also points out that her clothes are strange and unlike anything he's seen before. As the evening approaches, Lena and Koga decide to leave. Koga feels nervous and tells Lena he will rely on her for protection. As they walk through the forest, Lena points out that they can see the village ahead. But then Koga notices something strange. Lena realizes there might be goblins nearby, because the animals around them seem to be avoiding something. Lena senses danger, and she's right. A huge monster, a gargoyle, appears. It surprises Lena because strong creatures like this are rare here. She quickly gets ready to fight, and tells Koga to run to the village for safety while she holds off the monster. Koga is worried, but Lena reassures him, ready to face the gargoyle alone. Lena fights the giant gargoyle bravely. The monster is huge and scary. Koga, watching from a distance, is shocked at the size of the creature. Lena explains that gargoyles are magical beasts made from stone statues, brought to life by sorcery to attack people. Koga tries to help by shooting the gargoyle with his gun, but it doesn't do much damage. He explains that his gun is a self-defense weapon, but it's not very effective against such a big monster. Lena sees his effort and smiles, telling him to stay safe. Even though Koga insists he's fine, Lena reassures him, and she keeps fighting to protect him. The battle goes on, and the gargoyle is tough. Lena struggles but keeps fighting. Koga shoots at the monster, but the gargoyle doesn't fall. Koga is amazed by how strong the creature is, and realizes that traveling to another world brings many surprises, including dangerous monsters like this one. Lena knows she has to stop the gargoyle from reaching the village. She uses all her strength to hit the gargoyle hard, but it's not enough to defeat it. Lena worries that if the monster gets to the village, it will hurt many people. Lena is getting tired. She's giving everything she has, but she knows she can't hold on much longer. Koga watches from afar and worries that she might not win. Lena feels her strength fading, but she refuses to give up. She knows she can't lose here. Lena tries to strike the gargoyle again, but its stone body is too tough. The gargoyle attacks, smashing the ground near her, and Lena loses her balance. The gargoyle's hand reaches out to grab her, and she's in danger. Koga holds his gun, ready to shoot. He explains that in this world, his airsoft gun can become a real firearm. Lena looks surprised as she watches him. Koga fires at the gargoyle, which roars loudly. He explains that his gun is a Glock 17, a powerful handgun known for being light and easy to use. Koga keeps shooting, and the bullets hit the gargoyle's body, weakening it. The gargoyle stumbles from the damage. Lena, watching in amazement, can't believe that Koga is almost defeating the monster by himself. The gargoyle, which usually takes several nights to defeat, is being brought down by Koga, who doesn't even use a sword. With one final shot, Koga brings down the gargoyle. The monster crumbles, defeated. Koga stands tall after the victory, and Lena, amazed, thinks he must have the power of the gods to defeat such a creature. Koga rushes to Lena to check if she's okay. Lena, feeling overwhelmed, calls him Daisuke-sama and praises his strength, comparing him to a god of war. She feels like she's been rude, but Koga humbly tells her to lift her head. He gives her his business card, which confuses Lena because it's written in a language she doesn't know. Lena wants to ask Koga a favor, but she's too nervous to speak. Koga smiles and tells her he understands. He promises to come back after finishing his work at the company, leaving Lena puzzled. She wonders what kind of company he works for, and who Koga really is. Koga gives her the card and tells her to hold on to it until he returns. Koga goes back to his normal life as a salaryman. He works in an office and lives an ordinary life. He explains that other than spending a lot of money on survival game gear, he's just a regular office worker. Even though he travels to another world after work, his city life is simple. 2 days ago, Daisuke is participating in a survival game. The game is intense, with players running around shooting at each other with fake guns. The match is about to end in 30 seconds, and Daisuke is talking to a friend about getting married. They are still in the heat of the game, and Daisuke congratulates him while dodging the shots. Daisuke and his friends take a break after the game. One of his friends tells him that he is a kind and dependable person and encourages him to live for the sake of others. Daisuke, however, reflects on his life and realizes that he is about to turn 40 years old. Despite feeling older, he jokes that his heart still feels young, like he's in his 20s. They return to the game, where Daisuke's skill impresses everyone. Daisuke is still in the middle of the game, hiding in a smoke-filled area. As he reflects on the advice to live for others, something strange happens. The scenery changes, and he realizes that he is no longer in the survival game. Confused, he looks around and wonders where he is. Daisuke is shocked to see a giant, flying creature, a griffin. The enormous bird swoops down, and Daisuke, still in his game gear, is frightened by the sight. The griffin crashes down with a loud roar, leaving Daisuke in complete shock as he tries to understand what is happening. Daisuke is in a strange new world, and suddenly he hears a voice speaking to him. The voice tells him to fight to his heart's content. Surprised, Daisuke looks around, wondering who is talking to him. The voice continues, saying that it has given him the power to fight and that he should use it well. Daisuke, confused, checks his airsoft gun and is shocked to find that it has turned into a real firearm. He exclaims in disbelief as the once harmless toy now fires actual bullets. The weapon is no longer a plastic toy but a fully functioning gun. He realizes that the gun is now an M4 carbine, a powerful assault rifle used by soldiers in real life. It can fire 5.56mm NATO rounds, and even has a special mode that allows it to shoot 3 bullets with one pull of the trigger. Daisuke is stunned by this transformation and prepares himself for the battle ahead, now equipped with real firepower. Daisuke faces a huge creature and wonders if his gun will be powerful enough to defeat something that large. He reminds himself that he has trained with firearms during survival games and decides to trust in the power of the weapon he is holding. Daisuke takes aim and fires, sending a burst of bullets toward the creature. After the attack, the giant bird-like creature flies away. Daisuke is relieved but confused. Suddenly, a girl named Crim appears and introduces herself as an observer of this world. She applauds Daisuke for his efforts and calls him a summoned one. Daisuke, still surprised, asks who she is. Crim explains that this place is what people from Daisuke's world might call another world. She traveled through many worlds in search of strong people like Daisuke, and she confirms that his abilities are real, not just from the survival games. Crim also praises his heart, saying that Daisuke always helps others in need, and that is why he was chosen. Crim tells Daeshuk that this world is on the brink of chaos. She says that, as an observer, she cannot interfere directly, but she believes that Daeshuk can save the world from falling into darkness. Daeshuk reflects on her words, realizing that helping others is something he has always done. Crim asks him to help anyone he meets who is in need, and Daeshuk, carrying his gun, agrees to the task ahead. Daeshuk is amazed to find out that the entrance to the new world is connected to his room's closet. Crim tells him not to worry about visiting this world whenever he has time. Daeshuk is surprised by this, but he agrees to help whenever he can. Crim also offers him special abilities to help him on his journey. Crim explains one of the special abilities Daeshuk will have the power to turn his airsoft gun into a real firearm. She says that this ability is only possible in this world. Crim also gives Daeshuk a special charm, his business card, which can be used to find someone dear to him, no matter how far away they are. Daeshuk returns to Lena's side, surprising her. Lena is overjoyed to see that Daeshuk has returned, and she thanks him for coming back. Daeshuk praises Lena for her bravery and tells her that he will always return when needed. Lena then leads Daeshuk away, ready to ask for his help again. Lena and Daeshuk arrive back at the village. The villagers are relieved and happy to see Lena has returned safely. They shout and cheer for her, showing their gratitude for her bravery and strength. Lena reassures everyone that she is fine because she is strong, and the villagers gather around to welcome her back. Daeshuk learns that the village has been under attack by a tamer, a person who can control monsters. Lena explains that half a year ago, the tamer set his sights on the village's harvest and used monsters to steal food, money, and even kidnap girls. The villagers fought back but couldn't defeat the powerful monsters. Lena happened to pass through the village during her travels and offered her help. Lena recalls how she confronted the tamer, named Murdoch, to save the village and its people. She demanded that he release the hostages and stop attacking the village. Murdoch, however, was confident in his power and laughed at Lena's challenge. He mocked her, saying her strength wasn't enough to stop him, and he enjoyed the luxurious life he had created by terrorizing the village. Murdoch sent his lizard-like monsters to attack Lena. He believed that in this world, only the strongest had the right to win, and he considered himself the victor. Murdoch cruelly declared that he would make Lena his personal servant, just as he had with the other women in the village. As Lena fought back, she realized that the number of enemies was overwhelming, but she refused to give up. Lena expresses her gratitude to Daeshuk, telling him how glad she is that he exists. She promises a young boy named Rocco that she will bring his mother back, reassuring him to be patient and wait. Rocco asks Lena if she's really going to get rid of the bad guys, and she confirms her determination. Lena is ready to face Murdoch, who lives in a mansion deep in the forest, and vows that this time, she will surely succeed. Daeshuk smiles and assures Lena that he will help her to the best of his ability. Lena is touched by his words and determination to help save the village. Daeshuk admits that he can't forgive the people who have hurt the village, and Lena is overjoyed that she's not alone in her mission. Lena confides in Daeshuk that she feels powerless against Murdoch's strength. She explains that although she has been able to deal with his goblin minions, Murdoch is much more difficult to defeat. Lena feels desperate and asks Daeshuk for his strength, admitting that she feels selfish but still needs his help. Daeshuk realizes that meeting Lena has given him new hope, and he resolves to stand by her side. Lena speaks to Rocco, telling him to be a good child and wait while she goes to deal with the bad people. She promises to bring his mother back home. Rocco, full of hope, watches Lena leave. Lena then sets her sights on Murdoch's mansion, determined to defeat him this time and save everyone. Daeshuk prepares for the mission. He confidently holds up his gun and declares that they are ready to go. The team, with a clear goal in mind, prepares to face Murdoch and his forces. Murdoch, a big and strong man, laughs loudly in his castle. He loves controlling monsters and taking what he wants. He has captured many women and treasures, living a life of luxury. He warns everyone to stay on his good side, showing off his power over monsters. A woman is scared and spills wine as he makes this threat. Murdoch is still laughing when Daeshuk and Lena arrive. Murdoch mocks Daeshuk, calling him weak and questioning what kind of knight he is. Murdoch doesn't take him seriously. Daeshuk and Lena stay calm, ready to face him. Murdoch orders his lizard warriors to attack. These lizard men are strong and covered in tough scales, making them fierce fighters. They rush toward Daeshuk and Lena, armed and ready for battle. Lena bravely runs toward Murdoch, holding her sword. She is determined to save the hostages he has taken. Murdoch mocks her, reminding her of their last battle when she lost. But this time Lena is ready to face him again, determined to win. A big battle begins between Lena, the brave knight, and the lizard men. In the first picture, Lena swings her sword with great strength, using a special move called Turning Slash to defeat the lizard men attacking her. She fights hard, showing that she is strong and ready to protect everyone in danger. Koga Daisuke uses his gun to shoot the enemies without using magic. This surprises Murdoch, the bad guy who controls the lizard men. Even Lena is amazed at how quickly Daisuke defeats the monsters. Murdoch is confused and wonders if Daisuke has special powers, because he defeats the lizard men so easily. Koga Daisuke introduces himself as a salaryman and the boss of design at a company called Tukita Trading. Murdoch, not knowing what that means, is puzzled. Daisuke calmly explains that the battle is going just as he expected, and that he doesn't find the lizard men to be tough enemies. Lena and Daisuke keep fighting together. Daisuke shoots another lizard man, defeating it easily. Murdoch is shocked as Lena and Daisuke work as a team, showing great strength and skill to defeat the enemies. Koga Daisuke calls out to a large creature, asking it to attack. The creature, which looks like a giant snake, hisses and gets ready to fight. At the same time, Murdoch the villain rushes to find something from his collection. He says that with this, it will be the end for his enemies. Suddenly, a huge plant grows from the ground. The plant is very big and has long arms like vines. It grabs the snake creature right away. This plant, called the man-eater, can move by itself and trap other living things. Lena watches in surprise as the plant catches the creature. Lena swings her sword to try to cut the plant's arms, but it heals quickly each time. Murdoch laughs because the plant is not hurt by the sword. Koga Daisuke tries to shoot the plant with his gun, but nothing works. The plant keeps healing itself, so they can't stop it. Koga Daisuke realizes they need a better plan. He thinks that if they can stop the plant from healing, they might win. He runs to a closet filled with weapons and grabs a special gun. Now, Koga and Lena get ready for one last try to defeat the plant and stop Murdoch. Koga Daisuke rushes over, calling out to Lena, who looks hurt. He checks on her, worried, while Oliver, another ally, shouts for Lena from a distance, asking if she is okay. Koga quickly tells her to stay alert. Suddenly, a vine swings toward them, and Koga blocks it just in time, keeping Lena safe. Koga grabs a shotgun and starts shooting at the giant carnivorous plant that is causing chaos. The plant's ability to heal itself surprises him, and he wonders what kind of power it has. As he fires at the plant, he mentions that the shotgun he's using is special, made for close combat and capable of doing a lot of damage up close. Koga continues shooting the plant, explaining that this weapon, called the Franchi Spaz 12, is used by military and police because it can fire many rounds quickly. As Koga reloads and fires more shots, the plant takes heavy damage, but it still tries to fight back with its long tentacles. Finally, Koga delivers a powerful blow to the plant, causing it to let out a loud roar. Lena and Oliver watch as the plant starts to weaken. Koga continues his attack, determined to finish the fight, while Murdoch the villain stands nearby, stunned by the damage being done to his creation. The giant plant roars loudly as Koga Daisuke keeps attacking. He knows that plant monsters have special spots inside them called regenerative points. These points let them heal quickly. Koga realizes that if he can destroy these points, the plant won't be able to heal anymore. Koga asks Lena if the plant has a weak spot. Lena quickly confirms that it does. She points to where the plant's core is. Koga aims carefully and slashes at it, and the plant screams in pain. Koga approaches the weak spot, and it looks like the fight is about to end. With determination, Koga says, "It's over." He moves in close, takes careful aim, and fires his shotgun. The plant lets out one final roar as Koga's shot destroys its core. The plant starts to collapse, sizzling and falling apart. Murdoch watches in disbelief, crying out, "Impossible! My prized collection." Meanwhile, Lena corners Murdoch. She demands that he return what he stole from the village. Terrified, Murdoch begs for mercy, offering money and promising to return everything. But Lena isn't fooled. She quickly knocks him down, making sure he won't cause any more trouble. Lena smiles and thanks Koga Daisuke for his help. She looks relieved that the battle is finally over. A girl nearby watches them, thinking to herself that choosing Koga Daisuke was the right decision. As the scene shifts, we see Koga and Lena walking through the city, and everything seems peaceful. Back in the village, the women who had been missing are finally returning. The villagers cheer with joy, happy to see their loved ones again. Lena helps make sure Murdoch is tied up and ready to be handed over to the Affiant. A little boy named Rocco runs up to Lena and thanks her for helping. Lena smiles, telling him she's glad to see him happy. Lena tells Rocco and the others that she can't stay in the village for long because she is traveling to find someone important. The children are sad to see her go, but they understand she has a mission. As they walk away, Koga asks Lena if she is looking for someone special. Lena explains that she is searching for a knight named Oliver who raised her and trained her to be a swordsman. Lena talks about how Oliver promised to stay with her until she became a proper knight, but one day he disappeared, leaving only his sword behind. Even though she isn't a full knight yet, Lena is determined to find him. Koga, understanding her mission, offers to help Lena search for Oliver. Lena is surprised but grateful for the offer. She happily accepts Koga's help, and they both agree to meet again after their work is done. Koga Daisuke is seen at his workplace, sitting at his desk. His co-workers notice that he has been in a great mood lately. They wonder if something special has happened. One of them thinks Koga might have met someone important. As the scene shifts, we see Lena, a traveling knight, walking confidently. The narrator explains that a man from another world, Koga Daisuke, and a traveling female knight, Lena, have crossed paths. Their meeting is said to be the beginning of events that will change the fate of Lena's world. The story starts in a busy port city. Workers are unloading goods from a big ship. Suddenly, a man with spiky hair causes a scene, making everyone around him feel startled and confused. He yells loudly to get everyone's attention. Koga Daisuke arrives at the scene and is happy to see the sea. He smiles as he looks around. Lena runs up to Daisuke, calling out to him excitedly. She is glad to see him and comments on how lively the port city is. Lena and Koga Daisuke walk through a busy market in the port city. Lena is excited and thinks they might find a clue about Oliver here. Koga listens and agrees that with so many people around, someone might know something. As they walk, they hear a man making an announcement about a competition at the Colosseum. The champion can win 100 pieces of gold, which gets everyone's attention. Koga is amazed by the sight of the Colosseum. He explains that it was originally built for shows and contests, but now it's used for fighting matches, especially since a new lord took over. Lena warns Koga to stay away from the Colosseum, saying she has never heard anything good about it. Suddenly, Lena trips and falls toward Koga, but he catches her just in time. Lena feels embarrassed and apologizes, explaining that someone bumped into her, making her grab onto Koga. Koga reassures her that it's okay and not a big deal. They then head toward a restaurant called Samgo's Eatery, where a delicious-looking steak meal is served. Lena is startled by a mysterious woman in a hood who appears out of nowhere. Koga looks at the woman curiously, and Lena holds onto him tightly. The woman briefly looks at Koga before turning and walking away. Koga checks on Lena, asking if she is okay. Lena, still flustered, says she is fine. At the restaurant, Koga and Lena are served a meal. Koga says the food looks delicious. Lena happily tells him that it's her way of saying thanks. They are served wood-grilled steak, a local specialty made from a big fish called a newt, which swims near the water's surface. They both enjoy their meal, with Koga thanking the ocean and land for the food. Lena takes a bite of the food and says it is delicious. Koga comments that it would taste even better with some special sauces. Lena blushes as she enjoys the meal, and Koga notices how happy she looks. She then tells him to order as much as he wants, saying that today is her treat. Koga offers to pay for the meal, but the waiter looks confused because he doesn't recognize the money Koga gives him. Koga tries to pay in other ways, like a wireless transaction, but the waiter says they only accept copper and silver coins. The waiter angrily grabs Koga's bill, calling it worthless. Lena suddenly realizes her wallet is missing and panics. She tries to remember when it went missing. It seems it was stolen by someone earlier. Meanwhile, a mysterious woman is shown holding Lena's stolen money and talisman, thinking that the knight with Lena must be very rich. A new waitress, dressed in a cute uniform, arrives with plates of food. She apologizes for the wait, and the customers are excited, commenting on how cute she looks. A man calls out for her to take his order, and she hurries to serve everyone, promising to do her best. Koga Daisuke is seen helping out at a work site, lifting heavy logs with ease. An older man thanks him for his help and compliments his strength. Koga explains that he's working to earn his meal because his wallet was stolen. He actually enjoys doing the work. He then thinks about how, in games, money is earned by defeating enemies, but realizes he needs to find a way to earn money in this world. A big, angry man complains loudly at the restaurant, accusing the owner of charging him for a drink he hasn't even touched. The owner and waitress try to calm him down, but he becomes more aggressive, saying he won't pay for anything. The owner stands her ground, and Lena tries to step in, but the situation quickly becomes tense as the man prepares to fight. Koga Daisuke calmly confronts the angry man, asking him to stop causing a disturbance and not to bother others. The angry man, furious at being told what to do, pulls out a weapon and yells at Koga. People in the restaurant start panicking, but Koga stays calm, standing his ground and preparing to deal with the situation. A fight breaks out, and some of the angry man's friends are knocked down. Koga explains that the bullets he uses are rubber, meant to stop troublemakers without causing serious harm. The angry man eventually gives in, apologizing and saying he will pay for the meal. The situation calms down, and everyone is impressed by Koga's calm handling of the fight. Lena thanks Koga for managing the situation. The restaurant owner is grateful and offers Koga and Lena a room on the second floor of the restaurant since they don't have a place to stay. Lena feels relieved, and they both appreciate the owner's kindness. Later, Lena enjoys a relaxing bath while Koga thinks about everything that happened and decides it's time to head back. Lena is happy and thanks the restaurant owner for letting them stay on the second floor. The owner says that since they don't have much money right now, they can stay as long as they need and even help out around the restaurant. Later, Lena enjoys a peaceful bath, feeling relieved after all that happened, while Koga reflects on how late it is getting. A mysterious woman with long, braided hair and pointed ears approaches Koga Daisuke and asks if he is a magic user. Koga quickly recognizes her as the one who stole Lena's purse. He demands that she return it, but she playfully challenges him, asking why he doesn't fight her like he did with the last troublemaker. She keeps teasing Koga, calling him naive. She tells him that she won't attack someone who is unarmed, like him. As she moves quickly past him, she invites Koga to come with her to the Colosseum. Koga seems surprised by the mention of the Colosseum and asks her to explain. The woman stands in front of the Colosseum and excitedly invites Koga to join her in fighting against all the warriors there. She encourages him to aim for the prize. The mysterious woman introduces herself to Koga Daisuke as Ashley. She wraps her arms around him and invites him to participate in the Colosseum battle alongside her, saying it's not a bad deal. Koga and Ashley arrive back at the inn, where Lena is surprised to see them. She immediately recognizes Ashley as the person who stole her purse and is shocked. Lena is in her pajamas and exclaims in disbelief as she points at Ashley. Lena demands that Ashley return her purse. Ashley tells Lena to calm down and explains that she now has a way to make more money, making the amount she stole seem like nothing. She also teases that entering the Colosseum battle with Daisuke could lead to even greater rewards, with the winner standing to gain 100 gold coins. Ashley explains that the winner of the Colosseum battle will have to face the boss, Dorgan, who has immense strength and has never lost a battle. Lena, however, warns Daisuke not to be swayed by Ashley's words, reminding him that the Colosseum is a very dangerous place and asking him to reconsider joining the battle. It's explained that the town's Lord Hildert has forced some locals to participate in the Colosseum battle to make up the numbers. The participants need to pay 50 gold coins to get out of the fight. Lena is concerned about how hard it is to gather that much money, but Ashley insists that they will only need to go for a minute, win, and leave. Lena tries to argue that Daisuke and Ashley are outsiders, but Ashley dismisses it, asking Daisuke again if he'll join her. Daisuke tells Ashley that he cannot trust her because she seems to be hiding something important. He explains that through his experience in business, he has learned to read people by looking into their eyes. Ashley seems disappointed and asks if it's a no, realizing Daisuke isn't convinced. Lena reflects on the Colosseum's history, saying it became a terrible place after the fall of the Ferdia Kingdom. Some people in the background question who could defeat Dorgan, the undefeated boss of the Colosseum. Meanwhile, Lena is busy serving food at the restaurant, with customers calling her cute and praising her. Ashley suddenly jumps away, holding Lena's purse. Lena yells at her to return it, but Ashley responds that there are only 45 coins left and runs off. The scene shifts to someone realizing they are late for work, rushing to get ready at 7:30 a.m., while Daisuke and Lena are left behind. Guards are seen preparing to take the owner of the restaurant to the Colosseum. The owner's wife is upset, arguing with the guards and saying that her husband is 70 years old and shouldn't have to fight. The guards explain that the selection for the Colosseum was mandated by Lord Hildert, and the owner was chosen randomly. Daisuke and Lena watch as this unfolds, with Daisuke stepping in to try to understand the situation. The scene shifts to the Colosseum, where Dorgan, a powerful warrior, is in the middle of a fierce battle. Lord Hildert watches from above, asking how Dorgan is doing. His attendant informs him that Dorgan is in perfect condition, with no signs of problems from the regeneration magic used on him. Lord Hildert talks excitedly about how his spells can control warriors like Dorgan, making them bend to his will. He reflects on how humans feel great pleasure when they fight and calls the Colosseum the perfect venue to make profits. He orders his guards to gather more people for the Colosseum matches.
Meanwhile, Koga comes back from the portal and teleports directly to Lena's restaurant, where she is working. He walks into the commotion where the restaurant owner's wife is arguing with the soldiers. She scolds them and tells them that her husband is already an old man, and this is a totally ridiculous order for her to let her 70-year-old husband participate in such a wild battle. Koga gets confused about the situation and tries asking Lena about it. Lena, who is shocked seeing him there, tells him that the guards were forcing the old man restaurant owner to join the Colosseum. The restaurant owner, who is supposed to be the main reason for this argument, calmly takes the puffs of his cigarette. Koga is surprised by this ridiculous demand of the soldiers and tries to talk out of this situation. He tries to reason that the old man, no matter how strong he is, cannot participate in the battle. The guard, however, stays indifferent and scolds Koga for his meddling. He asks him who the hell Koga was to interfere in the random recruitment selection, which was made mandatory by Lord Hilder, who made this notice public for everyone's knowledge. The guard rudely asks the owner's wife if she should let her husband participate in the game, or if she will have to pay 50 gold coins to withdraw her husband from the competition. The guard gives her two options to pay her husband out of the situation. Either she pays 50 gold coins, or she sells the restaurant. The woman stumbles back in surprise, hearing the huge amount needed for the withdrawal. She glumly thinks about the restaurant's condition and tells him that her restaurant barely earns 1 gold coin after a month, so it is impossible for her to gather 50 gold coins. She grits her teeth, feeling bad for their financial conditions, but as she informs the guards that she can't pay the gold coins, the guards grab her husband and start dragging him with them. The woman looks at them horrified as the guard tells her that he will be taking her husband if she can't pay. The restaurant owner, who was being dragged by the soldiers, starts panicking and asks what these looting goons were doing to him. The owner's wife, disheartened, says that she will be willing to sell the restaurant to save her husband's life. Before the guards would have responded to the woman's final decision, someone from the back states that they will go to the Colosseum instead of the old man. The guards and the old one looks back and sees Lena standing all geared up and determined to go to the Colosseum to save the owner's life. The guard looks at Lena and thinks she is joking, so he tries to mock her for being so determined to go to the Colosseum. Lena looks at the guard with hatred and determination in her eyes as the owner's wife gets scared for Lena's life and asks Lena if she is sure of what she said. The old woman tries to stop Lena from joining, but Lena stays determined. Lena lunges at the guard and starts swinging her sword at him to show off her swordship skills. The guard gets scared by her sudden attacks and sweat pops on his face as he sees Lena pointing her sword at his throat. Lena glares at him and tells him that despite her wearing normal clothes or carrying any gear, she is confident in her fighting skills. The guard stumbles back in fear and tells her that she can join the Colosseum as the old man's substitute, since there is no problem with them having her on the fighters list. They quickly run away while the old woman shakes Lena to make her realize what she has done just now, but Lena stays confident in her abilities. Someone else walks in and asks Lena if he will be willing to lend her a hand. Lena looks over and sees Ashley smugly looking at her. Ashley tells Lena that she will be willing to help her, but Lena will have to share half of the prize money with her. Koga also steps in and tells Lena that he will be participating as well if Lena is participating. Lena becomes joyful and tells the old woman that she needs to take a leave from her job to go to the competition. The old woman, who is already having a panic attack, gets even more horrified when she sees that all three of them are seriously determined to join the Colosseum. Lena announces that they will try their best to defeat Dorhan and make Hildert speechless about the match outcome. At the stadium, the host announces the entrance of these combat warriors and all of them enter the stadium. Lena looks around in shock to see such a huge crowd participating in the Colosseum. The audience gets hyped up and starts cheering on the competitors to do each other. The competitors, however, start their fight to be the last person standing on the ground. Ashley looks at the participants and smirks, realizing that none of the participants is stronger than Koga. She once again reminds them about the 50 gold coins they had promised her. Lord Hilder praises the participants for gathering there and announces them to start the battle. The trumpet is blown and the participants start fighting each other. Lena gets in action and asks Koga to cover her rear. Koga holds his gun and tells her to leave it to him. Daisuke and Lena get surrounded by the participants who are ready to jump on them at any time. Lena tells Koga to get ready as the attackers are about to jump on them. One of the other fighters introduced himself as Harabotus III and mocked Lena by laughing at her. He tells her that he is here to test his prowess and attacks Lena with his sword. Lena, who had already seen through his attack, ducks down and takes aim on his stomach. She swings her sword and with a single attack she sends the guy flying back. Other attackers who witnessed the scene also lunged at her to attack. Lena got ready for the attack and took her position. Two guys threatened her and ran forward to attack her, but Lena stayed calm and called out her sword to lend her the powers to attack them. After summoning her sword energy, she rushed at the enemy and slashed her sword against them. The swords clashed and the enemies were all sent back. Lena took the opportunity and kicked the other opponent and defeated him as well. She looked back and saw other opponents approaching her. She took in a deep breath and used her sword move, Sonic Zapper, which formed a swirl attack and sent all the enemies rolling back. The other opponents who were watching the scene had their mouths wide open after they witnessed Lena's strong move. Lena doesn't stop there and goes ahead to defeat the other opponents. The other participants who were watching her got scared of her swordship skills and started complaining that they were no-named fighters who were told that they had to fight today without any experience. They complained that Lena was a skilled fighter and they stood no chance against her. Thinking of another option, they planned to attack her from the rear. They run towards her back and attack Daisuke by assuming that he is a weak fighter backing up Lena. Their assumptions were proved terribly wrong when Koga took out his gun and shot the swordsman running towards him. The attacker flew back in pain as the others started to panic, thinking Koga used some sort of magic for this attack. Meanwhile, Koga starts to praise his gun and tells Lena that this kind of amazing result was well expected from a Colt. He says to himself that the gun has a larger caliber and it is easy for him to use. Lena gets confused and calls his name out again. The other opponents were also confused by this attack since they didn't see any attack move or spell. He further explains that this gun uses a 0.45 SCP instead of a 9mm parabellum bullet, which means that this gun may have a short range for the attack, but the weight of this bullet will have a huge impact on the enemy. He shoots another enemy and says that only one shot of this bullet is enough to stop the other's movement completely, and of course, these bullets are all rubber tips as well. The crowd goes crazy seeing Koga's performance in the battle and wonders how in the world was he doing such stuff. Koga gets everyone's attention with his attack move since no one had ever seen someone fight that way in their world. Koga takes his next aim and threatens the two other warriors that he will shoot them if they try to attack him or Lena. The warriors stay back on their feet as they are afraid of Koga's attacks. The other guy, Herbotius, praises Lena and says that she is a really strong girl and he lost because he let his guard down near her. He is still talking about trying to attack her next time when Lena delivers her final blow to him and sends him flying away. While Lena takes out the enemies with her sword skills, Koga gives her a complete cover on her back with the help of his guns. A group of other fighters who were watching the fight witness the amazing performance of Lena and Koga. They start to get scared for their life and complain that they were only told to use a sword yesterday when they were told that they would have to fight in this match. The group of weaklings gets scared while watching other opponents fight so passionately. Another fighter hunk notices these weaklings and takes it as a chance to take out these easy opponents and charges toward them. The weak guy gets scared and steps back as the hunk runs at him at full speed. Just as the hunk was about to hit the guy, he got hit by another opponent, and this opponent was none other than Ashley, who threatened him to not attack these people, or they would be messing with her. The weak guy gets confused and asks her why she saved him. She looks back at him and asks if his name is Ethan. The man gets confused and asks her how she knows his name. Ashley only tells him that she was looking for the man who was wearing a similar scarf as him. The guy gets confused and pops a sweat looking at her. The audience, however, was excited as ever. They were cheering on the fighters to kill more opponents and give them a nice show to watch. The restaurant owner's wife also comes to watch the match and witnesses how the fight is turning out. She looks at the match and wonders if Lena, Koga, and Ashley will be alright in the match. A man next to her starts announcing the bets for the match and announcing that the highest bets were on Koga and Lena. The opponents in the battle start evaluating and saying that Lena may be a dangerous fighter, but Koga is more dangerous, assuming that he is finishing off the opponents before they even get close to him. The opponents start to notice that despite his powerful attacks, Koga is fighting one-on-one, which means if they attack him with numerous fighters at the same time, they will stand a chance against him. Devising the plan to attack him with two people at the same time, the opponents charge at Koga. They manage to shake Koga a bit since he was unprepared for the sudden attack. One of the attackers slashes his sword at Koga, which he barely dodges, and looks at them surprised. The opponents start feeling smug and mock Koga that they will attack him with multiple numbers at the same time, so he won't have the time to respond to them. Koga praises the opponents for evaluating the idea of attacking him at the same time, but the way Koga looks at them proves that he has another trick under his sleeves. Lena, who also notices other opponents ganging up on Koga, calls them cowards. Koga then points his gun at the opponents with one hand and opens a portal with his other hand. He announces that he will use this other gun to defeat them all and searches inside the portal for a suitable weapon. The opponent gets confused by his actions and starts to wonder what Koga's doing. Ashley, on the other hand, scares away all the opponents who are trying to attack the weak group of fighters. She tells them that the only one who will win is the last man standing, but this doesn't mean that they have to die in this battle to lose. She tells them that they can just win if they lay on the ground and yield. Thinking her idea would have given these people a hope to escape, she looks back at them and gets shocked to see them in a depressing mood. They tell her that they won't be able to escape that easily. If they lose, then they will have to get involved in another battle. Ashley gets mad at them and tells them to first make it out alive from the Colosseum and then figure out what to do next. Just as she is explaining the plan, she hears the screams of other opponents behind her. She looks back at the commotion and notices Koga shooting at the opponents. They start wondering what the hammer-like weapon in Koga's hand is. He explains that this gun is an Ingram M10, which is an American-made submachine gun. He explains that this machine gun is able to shoot multiple shots at the same time, and compared to an assault rifle, this gun is way easier to swing around for him. He explains that this gun is the best option for him to fight in this battle. He shoots all the opponents coming his way and is easily able to shoot multiple fighters at the same time. Ashley looks at him with pride and thinks that if it's Koga, then he can actually win this tournament. Lord Hildert, who was watching the match, gets intrigued from Koga's performance and asks the announcer to let Dorgan out. The host gets confused and asks if it was alright to let him out this early, but Hildert smirks and tells him to let him out. The preparations are done and Dogon is let out of his cage. Coming out, Dorgan turns out to be a monstrous being who tramples every fighter who comes in his pathway. He approaches Koga and attacks him. Koga and the other opponents all get scared from the enormous being, and Koga tries to use his pistol on him, but gets scared when the bullets have no effect on him. Koga falls back scared as Lena asks him if he is alright. He looks at the monster and warns Lena to be careful of him. The monster roars and Hildert tells the fighters that the freedom lies with the person who is able to defeat the strongest of all fighters. After the Dorgan has made its appearance, all the people eye. The crowd gets shocked seeing such an enormous monate. They start to talk about him and wonder how the fighters will fight this monster. Lena takes her stance and gets ready for the attack. All the other opponents also get pumped up to kill this monster and strategize to kill this monster by attacking him all at once. The fighters charge towards it, but unfortunately, even with all of them combined, they are not able to land a scratch at the monster. After the fighters witness their loss, they start complaining about how they can win against this monster. Ashley, who was listening to this guy, tells him to sit back and wait till she fights that thing. She dashes towards the monster and backs up Lena, who is also charging towards the monster to attack him. Lena takes her position as Ashley teases her that she is sure Daisuke-sama will come and back her up for the fight against this monster. Lena lunges her sword and attacks the monster. Just as she strikes it, she feels something strange. Koga warns Ashley to move out of the way as he comes marching at the monster with his gun. He shoots the monster with real bullets this time and gets happy that the bullets had some effect on the monster. However, just in a few minutes, the wounds on the monster's body get healed up and Hildert feels happy about the grafting tissues in Dorgan's body. He expresses his cruel intentions that he is not only after the profits he will make through Colosseum, but also feels happiness when he releases Dorgan in the battle. On the battlefield, Herbotius tries to make himself prominent by challenging Dorgan to a duel, but instead of getting fame, he gets kicked away by Dorgan. The audience enjoys the match and starts to bet that Dorgan will win the match. Koga takes the lead and attacks Dorgan with his machine gun and then switches his gun to a shotgun. The other opponents who had started calling him Weird Clothes Guy started to cheer on him. However, his attacks turn futile when the Dorgan simply heals from the attacks. Everyone, including Koga, was shocked that Dorgan was able to withstand the shotgun bullets. Hildert uses his magic and orders Dorgan to specifically attack Koga. Koga barely manages to dodge Dorgan's attacks and Ashley comes to a stop to help him escape. She points out that the Dorgan was specifically aiming for him. Koga starts running away from Dorgan and tells Ashley that he has a plan to defeat Dorgan. He runs in a slow way and lures Dorgan towards him. As Dorgan's face comes close to Koga, he turns back and shoots Dorgan's face. The monster falls back on the ground, and everyone starts cheering on Koga for defeating the monster. They start celebrating as Koga explains that the monster will be down for a while since the shot in the head has resulted in a concussion. But Koga is proven wrong when the monster eventually gets up and attacks Koga. Koga falls away and becomes unconscious. The Dorgan's face is revealed as the helmet falls from his face. Everyone gets shocked to see that there is no face under that helmet, and turns out this monster is actually a stone golem. The host tries to convince Hildert to stop the match and pull back Dorgan before there are consequences, but the evil man reveals his intentions, that he has no intention of stopping the match, despite the consequences that come with it. The golem starts going on a rampage and brutally hurts the opponents. The participants try to surrender the match, but none of their pleas are heard. Lena charges at the Dorgan to avenge Koga, but even her attacks are not effective on the monster. Ashley also gets worried about how she will defend Ethan and save him from the golem. As the golem slayed the participants, Hildert started cheering even louder and got more excited about the outcome. Koga wakes up during the rampage and sees the golem. One of the other opponents who was looking after Koga asks him what his next plan is, and Koga fixes his glasses and shows his determination that he has a plan to deal with this monster. Hilvert starts cheering even more that his golem cannot be stopped or defeated, but his mouth gets shut when the golem is attacked from behind and is shot on the shoulder. Hildert starts to panic and asks how his beautiful golem's body was damaged. Everyone gets shocked, and amidst the smoke, Koga lies on the ground pointing his rifle at the golem. Lena and Ashley are happy to see that Koga is fine and alive. He takes his aim and gets determined that he won't be missing his next shot. Lena joyfully calls out Koga's name while Hildert gets angry that Koga is still alive. He orders his golem to attack Koga again. Koga takes his aim and shoots the golem. The bullet pierces through the golem's arm, and it is torn apart from the golem's body. The impact sends the opponents away, while Hildert starts screaming in pain for the loss of his golem's body. The knight next to Koga praises him for his attacks, and tells him that from the moment he saw the way Koga was dressed, he knew he was not an ordinary person. The confused fighter asks Koga what the pipe-like weapon was that Koga used on the golem. Koga explained that this gun was Barrett M82, a gun that shoots 50 caliber bullets. He explains that this gun has the power to pierce objects that shotguns and assault rifles aren't able to penetrate. He further explains that this rifle can penetrate even tanks and helicopters. Hildert feels furious to see that his perfect golem is being destroyed and promises himself that he will have Koga killed by his golem. He orders Golem to attack Koga again, but this time, the golem falls on the ground as Koga shoots and rips off his leg. The attack defeats Golem for good. Hildert starts cursing at Koga for killing his golem. Everyone starts to cheer on Koga for defeating the golem, but Koga starts feeling pain in his legs. The knight who was accompanying him asks if Koga is alright. He watches him and understands that Koga was injured in the legs. He lends Koga a hand for help. Lena and Ashley look at the other opponents and threaten them that they won't hesitate to hit anyone who tries to attack Koga, but the opponents exclaim they won't dare attack such a powerful opponent. Just as everyone was relaxing about the G-Golem's defeat, Hildert uses his powers and revives the golem. The host tells Hildert to stop since the match was officially over, but the host insists that he will continue the match, despite it being over. The golem is recreated once again, and this time it is more unstable and dangerous than its last form. The participants start to complain about the unfair treatment and demand justice since the match is already over, so reviving Golem means cheating. Hildert, however, no longer cared about the match and was only focused on killing Koga. Lena and Ashley come forward and ask Daisuke to escape since they will be defeating the Golem this time. Herr Botius, who tries to challenge the Golem again, realizes his position in the match and runs away from there. He carries Koga on his back and runs away from the Golem. The Golem's attack creates an exit for the participants to escape, and Ashley tells Ethan to escape with everyone else. Lena and Ashley quickly evaluate the Golem's movement and come up with the plan that the Golem is moving after Koga by the order of Hildert, so Ashley asks Lena to distract Hildert so she can prepare for her next attack. Lena agrees and moves forward with the plan after telling Ashley that she is a nice girl. Ashley gets embarrassed and starts to summon her powers. She uses her Cursed Crest powers, and a bright light starts glowing in her eyes as she summons the power of the Cursed Crest. Lena jumps at Hildert's location and distracts him from Koga. Lena is able to get Hildert's attention, and she quickly diverts his sight from Koga. Just as Hildert looks back at the battleground, he notices that Koga is already gone. Suddenly, the whole stadium started to shake and everyone got scared of what was happening. From the smokescreen appeared another huge monster which was pretty identical to the golem. Lena gets scared but understands that this was actually Ashley's doing. Hildert gets scared and asks what the hell was this new monster. Everyone gets shocked by the sudden appearance of another Dorgan in front of them. Hildert starts to state his shock that there was only one golem that exists in the world and it belonged to him. He looked at the golem with shock and ordered his golem to attack the imposter. Ashley's golem attacks the other golem and the impact causes the golems to clash. Hildert's golem launches its attack by throwing rocks at Ashley's golem, which was easily able to avoid the attack. The other fighters started to get scared for their life as the huge boulders started to fall on them. They decide to abandon the battleground and escape. Ashley's golem engaged the other golem in a one-on-one fight which gave the others a chance to escape. Lena, who was also being dragged away with the crowd, calls on Ashley's name. Ashley's eyes glowed and she remained focused on the battle despite the boulders falling near her. She couldn't hear Lena's voice calling out her name as Lena was dragged out. Ashley, however, gets lost in her past memories and remembers the time when her cursed marks appeared in her tribe. The tribe was shaken with havoc as they realized that the marks on Ashley were from the ancient curse of elves. Everyone abandoned Ashley, and even her mother mistreated her, and she was thrown out of the village. Since then, Ashley was determined to never trust anyone's smile or kindness. She traveled through the world and learned a way to survive. One day, while she was burning up with a fever, she was approached by an old lady who figured out that Ashley was down with a fever. The woman tried helping her, but Ashley fainted on the scene. When Ashley woke up, she found Harold inside the house of the old woman who was nursing her to health. Ashley gets suspicious of the old woman and asks her what her real intention of helping her was. The woman clearly explains that she helped Ashley out only for the sake of her good heart. She then explains that her son was taken to the Colosseum against their will, and she will have to pay 50 gold coins to get him back. Ashley was shocked, since the gold coins amount was way too big for an old woman to earn by herself. The old woman bursts out in tears and expresses how she misses her son, Ethan, and wants him to come back. Something inside Ashley's heart gets tugged to see the old woman crying for her son, and she remembers how her mother mistreated her. She remembers her past and feels distaste as she remembers how her family and tribe treated her like a plague and made her run away from the tribe. Ashley feels pain to see such an old woman crying for her son and promises that she will help Ethan come back home. She tells the woman that she can repay her by hugging her son dearly. This reveals that the reason why Ashley was so determined to save Ethan was her promise to Ethan's mother. Back to the present, Ashley's golem gets attacked by the other golem and Ashley's golem disappears. It is then revealed that Ashley's golem was merely an illusion image. Ashley starts mocking Hildert for being a doll who is standing away from the battle instead of participating in it. Hildert gets furious and orders the golem to catch Ashley and crush her to death. Ashley feels the pain of being crushed and assumes that this is the end for her now. She remembers all the good times and her good friends. Suddenly, she starts wondering if Ethan has reunited with his mother or not. Just as she is about to accept death, Koga calls out her name and asks if she is alright. He shoots the golem's hand which was holding Ashley and sets her free. Ashley becomes happy and surprised that Koga didn't abandon her, and she looks at him with admiration. She finally understands that Koga is one of the people she can truly rely on from now on. Hildert, who notices Koga, starts to get mad that Hildert is still alive and well. He orders the golem to attack him. The golem starts to crawl its way to Koga, who takes aim at the golem. Koga explains that the height he is on right now is the best for him since he doesn't need to move that much for the attacks. He shoots the golem and reveals its original state. Harabotius explains that he has seen a statue Indi the golem which appears to be its weakness. This time, Koga takes his aim again and is saved by Harabotius, who saved him from the boulder attacks from the golem. The participants and the spectators who had escaped the stadium started telling the people outside that the monster they saw inside wasn't a human, but a golem, but people who had witnessed it found it ridiculous. Their attention eggs diverted as they see the golem on top of the stadium building and start believing that the Dorgan is really a stone golem. Koga takes aim and shoots the golem, who falls on his knees due to his weight and impact. Koga takes his final aim and shoots the golem. The statue inside the golem gets broken and the golem falls off the stadium building as Koga fixes his glasses in triumph.